Next, we have our panel, and just let me put on the screen so that you can see who else is with us. Sudhir from Lenskart and Abhinav from Cars24, and Dharmesh remains with us again from CanCertain, as you just saw and heard. So I have a bunch of questions to ask Sudhir and to ask Abhinav, especially because you guys have been here for a little while now, and you are expanding aggressively from what I can see, and what the market trends look like. It looks like that you've established a solid base in the region, especially in the UAE, and you're looking to expand further. Again, so we work with a lot of early stage startups who want to enter this region, and we stress, we emphasize the importance of getting in front of the regulators, in front of the lawmakers, and ensuring that they are on board with what you're doing, because we have seen in the past about with companies who wanted to come and sort of fly under the radar in terms of legal issues or regulatory issues, and that has never really worked out well. So both of you mentioned how important legal is. So would you say that to all early stage startups, that if you want to come here, you need to invest a certain amount of time and money into ensuring that your regulatory work is in order, your legal work is in order?
I've built a business also in Indonesia.
Yeah,
and it's required everywhere, actually, in every international market, right? It's important, and it's not less or more in any market. And in fact, in Indonesia, it's even worse.
Okay.
Right. And I think that the challenge in the Middle East market is that there are laws, and then there are laws that have launched, and then there are laws that are going to be launched.
Right.
Yes. And you find that the laws that have launched are also not implemented.
Right.
And then you find that the laws that are going to be launched, if you know what laws are going to be launched, then you can actually take better decisions. Right. And for instance, we actually started off being a 5149, and then we turned around and we came back to being 100% hero. We lost a few months, but it actually is the right decision. Right. And I think that hence having the right, because it's almost 60-70% lobbying and 20-30% legal advice. Right.
That sounds about right.
With a lot of interpretations and so on, and in fact, in a market like Saudi, it's even worse.
I completely agree with that. Okay, to move on a bit, Abhinav, you mentioned that there are the digital penetration in this region is really high, right? And more than word of mouth, it is the digital. You have to put yourself out there digitally to get in front of people's eyes. So as part of that, there are a lot of flashy websites and services out there who say that, hey, come to UAE, we'll help you set up your company in 2 days or money back. That kind of a service, and they make it look really straightforward. So in your experience, what are some of the challenges that you faced when you were entering the GCC, or when you're trying to scale out from UAE? Some of the key issues that you think early stage startups should have in mind before they go for 5 days or money back, if your company is not started kind of service.
I think typically I think a couple of opinions that I've developed over the last few months, right, while we've been operating. So one, I think most of these startups or companies that are coming from India are disrupting some of the other space. So not necessary that rules are in place to support companies that are trying to disrupt, but and which is why it becomes even more important to revisit, to understand what is the law of the land. I think one very, very good thing here in UAE, which even Sudhir mentioned, is the government here is pretty open to modifying and to fixing laws, right? We can call it lobbying, we can call it their open-mindedness.
Mm-hmm.
But you can go speak to the lawmakers, you can make them understand if you're trying to
absolutely
change, disrupt, and improve the environment. So I think that's a great thing about this country. Of course, ultimately, it is a painful process to ultimately catch hold of lawmakers, make a route there and figure out your answers. But at least I feel that this is one of the most fantastic things about this country, that it is open-minded. They understand that technology is the future of any of the countries, and they are ready to make amendments, give you a chance, hear you out, and at least at least take a fair call. So I think those are some of the areas which also again make it important that first we understand what is the current law. We catch hold of the right people who can, because typically again startups will be disrupting, so there are it's hard that they would be riding on existing laws, right? So most likely they would need, say, capable companies, people, teams, contacts to get to the right lawmakers and essentially at least take exceptional approvals in their favor. So that's something that I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Understood. Sudhir, you were in agreement with what Abhinav was saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the extent to which the business constituents are listened to while framing frameworks and also changing them is really impressive, right? And also, if you just look at the UAE and the number of new laws and visas and things that have been rolled out in the last 1 year, it's at the speed of light. It's really, really fast, right? And I think the country has ambitious plans of moving from increasing their population significantly, and Dubai moving from 3.5 million people to 6.5 million people. And I think a lot of decisions and a lot of legal changes and framework changes are being made, and a lot of steps in the right direction.
Right. I mean, I'm in complete agreement with both of you, because it has been our experience as well. I mean, we are in the business of helping, tech companies connect with regulators, and we have always seen that the government here and the lawmakers and the regulators are super open to be approached. If you have a fantastic product that they believe that the country can take advantage of, they are more than happy to have a sit down with you and see what they can do to make sure the environment is conducive to that business, right?